the hair is what's the big thing with the women. Now, different hairstyles, so you just have to sit down with the imam because that's all specific. And they got different, for generally speaking, you would, just like he showed, you go back over the whole hair, whether the hair is coming down like this or coming down the back, or if it's not. It's just the idea. Inside of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to wipe the head. So you have all these different types of interpretations of that. That's why it's the best to speak with the imam, and you can tell him, he can tell you the specifics. But up until that point, he's normally here, but he's out of town right now. So, so if you just boom, just like how you showed, now go down to the bottom and then come back up, like to the front. If your hair is like short, or it's like this, or if your hair is coming down long, make sure you get all the way down to the end and then go up underneath it and then come all the way down like that and then put it back however you had it. But the idea is to wipe the head. That's the idea. So there's some kind of, there's opinion that say you can wipe over the hijab, but I don't want to get into that. So it's best not to do it. But the reason why the Sheikh Ismail said, the reason why that had been permitted a little bit is because you might be in an area or a place like in a park and you got to make wudu. Because me and my family, we always go down to the banks all the time, and we pray down there. She normally has wudu, so it's not a big issue. But they say that it would be permissible to just move it back a little bit and hit like this one part, because there is a opinion from a very prominent scholar in Islam to just say you have to, what's mandatory is a forelock of the hair, but it's mostly recourse, like in certain situations, which that's what a job for the imam. He can tell you when it's permissible to do that, when it's permissible to not do that. So, side note, because I've been hearing that's been floating around in the masjid, so don't. I work with the imam, so I know that's not a normal thing. Like if you hear, no. Somebody told my wife, and she was here, no, you can just do all your hijab. This is, y'all have a secluded area, so y'all can do that. Okay. So any other questions? Was that video good? It was okay? It's cool.
So you said basically the head. Mm-hmm. So make sure you get like the scalp more than the hair rather.
For a woman, it's not like that. For a man, you should, because we don't have the issue of styling our hair, even though guys, for whatever reason, style their hair now. That's something new to me. I don't know anything about that. But the scholars have dealt with that too. A lot of guys is wearing dreadlocks. That seem to be the new fad. And there's a big debate of whether you can have the dreadlocks, whether you cannot have the dreadlocks because you can't touch the scalp. You have a range of permissibility as far as most things inside of Islam. Everything inside Islam, except for there's no exception. There's range. Some ranges are larger than others, but this is one of those things where there's a range of permissibility, so it's mostly specific. I have heard a guy who studied traditionally, Sheikh Ismail, he disagreed with it, and he has reasons why he disagreed with it, but I think the brother is based in Philadelphia, and I guess the culture there, big time, is dreadlocks, so it was a big fitna. So this scholar, he was a traditional scholar. He learned in Nigeria from a very big traditional scholar, and he said that, and it made sense. He said that Allah Ta'ala, he just said, "Wamsahu ru'usahum," just wipe your head. Like, it didn't go into that detail. So scholars that have that scope with the Quran can give the permissibility to say the details. So it's not as long as that's a base minimum thing, and you'll be okay. So if your hair is done kind of way, because I know African American women, they wear braids and so forth. Don't wear weave. Don't do it. I know it's a hard thing to, because it's so ingrained in the culture. We don't need it. And Allah Ta'ala, he told us not to change his makhluk in the Holy Quran. It's a big thing. When me and my wife get married, it was a thing for her, but wallahi, she got past it. She cool now. And then, you all wear hijab anyway, so, it really ain't no reason, but it's still ingrained in culture nowadays. I mean, with all women, it's ingrained in the culture.
Okay, so with the wig, I don't wear it, but I've seen a sister who I guess has been Muslim for like a year or so, and she had got her hair braided with extensions and stuff. So that, and then the one friend that I told you about that I've been hanging around, who's recent as well, who's converted. She wants to braid her hair soon, and she wants to
like with the box braids and stuff.
Yes. So should I inform her what I'm learning today?
Okay. Yeah. If y'all have that kind of relationship, that they would accept your nasiha, then say it in the most unoffensive way. But wait for it to I would say wait for it to kind of come up. Because that's when you get to messing with people's deen. Hey, Imam, salaam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. He was one of my teachers too. When you give a nasiha or da'wah, nasiha is the word in essence means like sincerity. But when you're doing nasiha, that's like giving somebody some admonition. In da'wah, it's calling people either to Islam or to the straight path in Islam. So when you're doing that, there's a whole code of ethics that goes with it, which is a lot of people who are internet-based or are self-taught and self-studied, and they'll read something in a book and they are 100% correct, 1,000,000% correct, and they can say, "Oh, the Quran and Sunnah, brother, look, Quran and Sunnah," and if you don't listen, they will hit you with the book, like will literally hit you with this. Even if you're on a video chat, they'll throw the book through the video chat. But that's how weird it has got. But if you see the chance to say something, say something. I'm going to tell you the basis. I'm going to tell y'all the basis. It's important, especially for women. Y'all are the leaders of the world, literally. The Prophet ﷺ said it. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, somebody came to ask him, he said, "Who's more important, my mother or my father?" And the Prophet ﷺ answered. And when he answered, now I'm paraphrasing this, when he answered, he told him 3 times in a row, "Your mother." He said, "Okay, then who?" He said, "Then your mother." He said, "Then who?" He said, "Then your mother." He said, "Okay, then who after that?" He said, "Then your father." So the scholars took that as the woman is 3 times as important than the man. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I guarantee y'all know it. I'll tell y'all that. But that's some evidence for you when people get to talking about y'all and be like, "Oh, you're oppressed, and that dude is making you do this, and you're brainwashed." And you can tell them, "Well, if I'm brainwashed, the Prophet Islam brainwashed me to believe that I'm 3 times more important than a man." That doesn't mean the man is illegitimate and not relevant whatsoever. But the gist of that is the Prophet ﷺ wanted to impress on us that the woman is the very, 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 very first teacher, the very first teacher that anybody has.
My fiance is from Saudi Arabia, so what is it with mothers and wives? Like, who's more important there? Since we're talking about women right now.
I'm new to all of that.
Yeah, because I know no matter what, they will always listen to their mother. I don't know if that's a cultural thing.
It is. It is. It's some religion in that. It's
she has an upper hand over me, and I don't know how I feel about that.
I definitely you know Sheikh Ismail, right? Okay, you have to sit with him and his wife.
Okay.
They deal with this on a regular basis. They dealt with it overseas, all the way everywhere overseas they were at, and they deal with it here. It carries on here, but they're two different lanes, two different. One's Harvard and the other one is Yale. What's more important, Harvard or Yale? Nobody can say. They both have eminent relevance. You can't put Harvard and Yale against each other. They both have a lot of credentials, so you can't put the mother and the wife against each other. They both have their own stations. And the man, it is obligatory for him to pay the rights to both. Now, if his mother is demanding him to do things that is not a part of the Quran and the Sunnah, it's not his business to be like, no, you're wrong, and, do that. He cannot do that. But, just be easy with letting her down about that. My mom's not Muslim, so she always suggests, I ain't gonna say non-Islamic things, Christian things. And I'm like, okay, Mom, all right, no problem. No, all right. And I find you find the easy way to let it down. He has to do that, or it's gonna cause a problem between y'all. And his mother has to not say, and she can't do this, and she has to be like that, and the makluba has to be cooked like this. She can't do that. Now, she has rank definitely over both of you because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put the woman in that station. But you can go to the imam, and is he here or is he coming here? It's your fiance. Oh, he's here? Okay. He comes here, right? Okay, so y'all already know Sheikh Ismail then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Talk to him. He will be the one that can smooth it out. He would be the only one that could calm the mother in that type of situation.
Now the mother's overseas.
Oh, she's over there?
Yeah, he's here.
Well, he can, Sheikh Ismail could.
She still has the upper right. She still has the upper hand.
Well,
She's across the world.
But look at the bright side of it. You got a guy who respects women outright.
Exactly.
So
That's what I love about it.
now it's his responsibility to sit with the sheikh and take the nasiha from the sheikh on how to balance that out, on where he could say, okay, sweetheart, we have to do this, or sweetheart, let's just deal with how my mom is acting like this. He has the rank to be able to say when, where, and how with that. So you just be patient. If you got one that's close to his mom, that's 90% better than what's out here. So just be patient and stay with the imam. And his wife Jen, she could definitely help with all that. She deal with the sisters with that a lot. It's mostly Middle Eastern culture that has that cultural stigma. So this is mostly Middle Eastern based community, so they deal with it a lot. They can help with that. But as far as the hair extensions and all that stuff, there's an eminent Muslim companion. He lived in the time of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He was so important that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam asked Allah to teach him the interpretation of the Holy Quran. That's big within itself. Like, they write books on just that lesson itself. His name is Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. And I can't remember which cities he was in. He was either in Mecca and came to Medina, or was in Medina, came to Mecca. I can't remember. I think it was the first one. But he's seen that the women were getting kind of out of control. The Medinan women were different than the Meccan women. The Medinan women kind of did have the upper hand, like American women, in the relationships and stuff. And in Mecca, they were more traditional. The woman did her thing and the man did his thing. So he wasn't used to that. So there was a woman doing tattoos and fixing her eyebrows and stuff, and he spoke about it, and she said, "Wallahi, I memorized the whole Quran. That's not inside the Quran." And now this is Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. I don't know who the woman was, but she was knowledgeable though. She knew the Quran. So he said, no, it's there. Ali, salamu alaikum. She knew the Quran. So he was like, okay, so if you know the Quran, then go back and read it. You'll find it, I guarantee it. So she went back and she said, Wallahi, I read it 3 times. It's not in there. And he was tricking her. And this is the difference between knowledge or information and wisdom. Hikmah is different. Hikmah is the highest station of knowledge. First you get information, and then if you can retain that information enough and refine it, then it will become knowledge. And after so long, then it will become wisdom. But all this stuff takes years. So Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he had wisdom. So the woman was right, but he was more right, because it does not say that in the Holy Quran that a woman can't do the tattooing and fixing the eyebrows. And back then they used to like do something with their teeth. Like now people do the porcelain thing. So that's the same thing, but they used to do something different. Culturally, it was different. They call it space in the teeth. I still don't know what that means, but they used to do it because people seen it as beautiful, whatever. So the idea was that the Prophet ﷺ, I'm sorry, I skipped the part. It was not in the Holy Quran. All those things that the women were doing, and Abdullah ibn Mas'ud chastised them for doing. It was not in the Quran. So she said that, I read it 3 times. It's not there, so on and so forth. He said, if you had any wisdom, you would have seen it, like clearly. And she was like, well, where is it if you got all this knowledge? And he said, it's in the verse, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasul. O you who believe, obey Allah and obey His Messenger. So the wisdom behind that was he was recoursing her back to the Sunnah, the traditional practice of Islam. You can't just have a Holy Quran. You can't just have a book of whatever and just be like, okay, I'm a Muslim and then I'm going to do this like this. There's a way of practicing these things. This is what makes the difference between us and the people who brought innovation into their divine practice. The people who came before the Muslims, they brought innovation into their practice, the divine practice. It was there, but they went according to their own understanding, and they kept doing it, and that's the right way. They went this way, and they just kept going until they was just all the way in what the Quran calls dalala, misguidance. And they started to live inside of a delusion, practicing what they thought was divine revelation, but it wasn't. And I know y'all see it today. So that verse, obey Allah, O you who believe, obey Allah and obey His Messenger, inside of the practice of the Messenger, the Sunnah, he taught the people that the women should not do the eyebrows, the false hair extensions, and spacing the teeth and doing the tattoos. The Prophet ﷺ spoke on that. Now, the Prophet ﷺ did not say anything that was outside of what Allah had already taught him or would allow. So, and so whenever the Prophet ﷺ said something, it was stamped with the divine stamp. So he said that, he taught that to the people. So he told the woman, it was like, yes, you have to obey Allah, which is the Holy Quran, and you have to obey the Rasul. Ati Allah wa ati Rasul. You have to obey it both. So even though it's not inside the Holy Quran, the Prophet ﷺ spoke on this. So that's the evidence against it. Any of the unnatural fixations that the women do. The idea behind it is that Allah Ta'ala made everybody beautiful already. He already made them beautiful. You don't have to add or take away anything. You don't have to. It's almost like saying, yeah, Allah, you did a good job, but I'm gonna help you out. So I'm gonna adjust it because I'm gonna help you out, Allah. That's what that's saying. And if a person takes on that mentality, then they put themselves in as a partner with Allah, God, which is the cardinal sin that God, the only cardinal sin that God, Allah, will never forgive. Never. If a person dies in that state. So that's that thing. But back to what you were referring to, the getting to the scalp, that is the most far right opinion. If you can do it, and you should do it, it's okay. But if you, like men, some men have, thick hair. So when they doing wudu, if you boom, boom, then, it should be fine. But, some scholars say that it should reach all the way down to the scalp because the Holy Quran says head, I forget. It's the head. Ras is the head. So the scholars say that there's a difference between hair and head. So that's the debate. So it's okay. You'll be fine. So as long as you don't have, if you got some extensions, then you're not making wudu at all. And for men too, I see these guys wearing braids and dreads and extensions. So they're doing that. So that's that. Any more questions for wudu or salah? No. Who has the time? Okay. How much? Okay, we're doing good. Huh? No, 2 o'clock. Okay, what's your question?
Well, I guess, I wanted to go back to the mother and the wife. I was watching something where he was from the Middle East, and he was saying that he was speaking on how the mother are taking over the marriages, and he was saying that he was given a way that he could like calm the mom and let her know that he has to kind of step down. Like he was saying, like kiss her hand and say, "Mom, no, you can't," or kiss her forehead and things like that. I was thinking about that right now.
Yeah, it's true.
I just watched it on Friday.
Hold on a minute. Stop for the down. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. Okay. Any more questions? Anything? Y'all cool? Okay. I'm going to start this book, inshallah. We keep with it. Now, this is the beginning of it. This book has this complete structure of what it is we believe and what we don't believe. And it's incumbent we understand these things. It's a breakdown of the Quran and the Sunnah. It's a breakdown of the Quran and the Sunnah. It's hard for a person who was not taught traditionally to decipher the meanings of the Holy Quran. So this particular scholar, amongst a bunch of others, put what our belief, which is actual belief, in a condensed form. It's like 100 something lines. And this will give you the proper understanding of the basic tenets that we believe in. It's called Aqidah to Tahawiyah. Tahawiyah is the guy. He's the scholar. He's from Egypt. He's a big scholar. And they asked him to do this book because there was a lot of stuff creeping into the deen that didn't belong there. So they wanted something that was simple because things started rapidly changing from being traditional. Politics got involved. So people tamper with belief systems, as y'all know, in order to get people to believe in whatever campaign it is that they're doing. So he put this together, and there was a bunch of other books like this, but this is the most popular one. They teach this book to kids so that they can have a platform, and it stays with them forever. I'm pretty sure your fiance knows this book. They teach it like how we learn certain things, like we learn the Pledge of Allegiance in our schools. This is like a Pledge of Allegiance type thing. It's a part of the curriculum in the schools. So people who are born and raised Muslim, they know this book, or they didn't heard another, or they know somebody who knows this book. So it's extremely popular. And the word aqidah actually comes from the word qaida, like qaida. I'm sure y'all heard of that, right? Qaida. Al-Qaeda. So yeah, this is what we're getting ready to learn. The word qaida just means a foundation, a base for something. So this word aqidat, it's like the foundational belief system, the foundation of belief systems. So y'all not finna learn Al-Qaeda-ism. Okay. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We say about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's unity, believing about Allah ta'ala's help, that Allah ta'ala is one. We say about Allah ta'ala's unity, the author Imam Tahawi begins with Tawheed, divine oneness. It is the first tenet from amongst the tenets of Islam, and it is the first fundamental from amongst the fundamentals of Iman, belief. It is the first thing that is binding upon an adult believer, and it is the first da'wah or invitation of all of the prophets to their respective nations, their era, their age, etc. To such an extent that Allah Ta'ala has testified to this himself. Secondly, the angels have testified to this. Lastly, the knowledgeable ones have testified to this. Any questions about that paragraph? Okay, so this is he's starting the book with Tawheed, making Allah or God one. That's the fundamental belief of belief. Is that there's one God. It's impossible that there would be more than one. He's gonna break all of that down. Allah Ta'ala is witness. He clearly proves to his creation that there is no deity, ilah, except him, and the angels and men of knowledge are also witnesses to this, as proven by their worship and glorification. Allah Ta'ala is always maintaining his creation with justice, wisdom, and sound judgment. Allah Ta'ala is always maintaining his creation. I just read that. There is no deity except him, the exalted and might, the wise. Now that's a verse in the Holy Quran. That's verse 3:18. So he's using the Holy Book to prove his point. That way you don't think that this is his opinion. He's saying this, Imam Tahawi is writing this, but people glorify the preachers too much. And you get the worship in the preacher as opposed to the one who taught the preacher. So he's giving you the evidence from the Holy Quran that this oneness of God is there and it's established and it's confirmed by all of creation, and even more so, the best of all of creation. And then the seal of all prophets, alayhi salam, was most knowledgeable about the testimony of faith. Allah Ta'ala says, know well that none is worthy of worship except Allah, and seek forgiveness for your shortcomings and the believing men and women. Surah, this is in chapter Muhammad, verse 19. And then Allah Ta'ala mentions the word anna, surely, inna, surely, indeed, without doubt, which he, subhanahu wa ta'ala, had revealed to all his prophets. This is the word of certainty. He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, also says, we sent revelation to every messenger before you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, telling them that Without doubt, there is no deity except me. So worship me and worship me only. And that's in the Surah Anbiya, the prophets. I think that's 19:25. All right, so I'm going to stop right there and we're going to talk about what I just read. That's not the first full part, but this book is kind of heavy. It says some simple things, but there's some heavy meaning that carries it. So it's good to go part by part and then get an get an understanding of it. Okay, so the first thing that the book is trying to teach everybody that Allah Ta'ala is for a fact one. Why is that a fact, and why is that mandatory for everybody to believe in order for them to have true belief? Anybody know? Or what do you think? Why is this mandatory? You know, in your 5 pillars, the very first thing is La ilaha illallah. There's no God except God alone. Why is this a mandatory belief? Have you ever just... Yeah, that you have to believe that.
Believe that it's no equal to him.
True.
Like he is only one God.
Right.
That's just what it is.
That's true. But it's good to give yourself and others, because you know people are going to come and like, no, the son of...
Yeah.
And then they're going to go down that chain. If you just tell them, no, that's it, and you don't give them the logic, then, yeah.
Not the Holy Trinity.
Well, Allah speaks on that. That's true. True. That's about 25% of the answer. Good. All right. Okay. This is the logic behind there being only one God, factually, in any religion. This is why Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala said that He sent all of the prophets. We're going to talk about that next. He sent all of the prophets with that understanding. This is why it's logical. Now, okay, let's say the 3 of you work at Macy's and she's the boss. Okay, she says, I need all 3 of you to fold the clothes in section A. Now, if she comes along and says, no, we should fold the clothes in section B first, is the person who matters, the boss, are they being obeyed? No, correct? This is the simple, easy, elementary understanding to the fact behind that there's only one God. You get, and Jesus was supposedly reported to have told everybody inside of the Bible, no one man can do what? Serve 2 masters. He told the people an answer. I don't know why they broke it down into 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 2 or whatever. He told everybody no one person can serve 2 masters. So whether the boss is right or wrong, if you dedicate yourself to obeying the boss, which we all do, we all have this concept to obey the one that's in authority of us, you want to be successful at it, especially if you want to keep your job. So if you're a believer, you call yourself a believer. If you want to be successful at your job of being a believer, you got to obey the boss. You can't obey anybody else. So if the boss say go fold the clothes, Assalamu alaikum, Habib. If the boss say go fold the clothes in section A, and somebody else says no, let's go fold the clothes in section B first, then you're obeying that person as opposed to obeying the boss. This is why there must be one God. There only can be one God. It cannot be more than one God. And this is why Allah Ta'ala always said, La sharika lahu. There is no partner with him. That's a big part of it too. There's no partner. Well, I mean, a lot of people succeed in diverting people by being a partner to Allah. And this is the most sinister defect of people in belief. When God, Allah, said, do this, and then here comes somebody else, be like, well, you know, God understands. You can do this, God understands. No, you can say, God, Allah told me to do this, but I ain't there yet. I need to get stronger. I need to be better. But you can't Change the rules and be a successful believer. And this is what the communities from before had done. They changed the rules. That's the name of the game. Just obey the boss. Allah, God, is the boss. Obey him to your best ability. And Allah Ta'ala already said that all of your shortcomings, it'll be taken care of in your good deeds. Your 5 times a day prayer, this is why you pray 5 times a day. So that when you slipped on obeying the boss, the one boss, when you slipped on that, then he gave you some way to erase it and clean it up. He ain't mean. He ain't this boogeyman like a lot of people in the media and people who have got their understanding from the media think. He ain't that. They made it easy for us. We was talking, we were talking, remember the day about doing good deeds. You get 700, you can get 10 blessings minimum, 700 blessings maximum, and Allah knows better than that, than doing something good for somebody. So if you cussed at your spouse or your family member or something, or you got mad at them or whatever you did, then you can turn around and see a poor person, get a poor person $5, and that thing you did bad is as if it don't even exist. You don't need nobody down the cross for you. What you need that for? Now it's not there. Anyway, that's a different conversation for a different day. But that's why it's only logical that there can be one God, because only one entity can give the rules. There can only be one boss. And no matter how beautiful, how rich, and how powerful you are in this world, you are still not the boss. Bill Gates will die. Even though he's powerful, the dude who owns Google, who just passed Bill Gates, even though we treat him like a god, he will die. And he will die. He's not pumping his heart. His whole 20-something billion dollars, he could not pay for the technology to say, okay, God, I appreciate it, but I'm cool now. I got this technology to help my heart and my sinuses and my eyesight and my ears and my taste and everything that we love, that we use. I got this new app that does this for me, God. Good looking out. It will never happen. This is why there's only one God. And no matter how powerful God makes you, or God makes you think that you are, you still need him. Period. You want to make that $1 billion? You want to go open up your account and see that $1 billion in your account? Well, you got to wake up first. And nobody's control you. Nobody can even man to come so ignorant / arrogant. It's kind of the same word. That they don't even understand. You got to wake up. You can't even control your sleep cycle. Nobody can stay up for a month straight. So you know what? I ain't gonna sleep. I just gonna, you'll fall asleep. Period. You can't even control that. And people want to say, they want to argue with God about what to do, what not to do, how to do it, how not to do it. You got to humble yourself to that power. If you can't even control your sleep cycle, then you need to sit down and figure out who the boss is. It ain't Jesus. It's not Muhammad. It's not Ibn Mas'ud. It's not Sheikh Ismail. It's not Abdul Kabir. It's not any of these people. None of those people can help you with those things that you need to get to those things that you need. So before you open your bank account and floor it in your bins, and then put the key. Well, they got the iPhone now where it can open your door to your mansion, and got some kind of app. My dude got one. He got an app. Like when he pulling up in his driveway, he can pull an app up or whatever, or wave his phone, and his security system will go down in his house. You got to wake up before you do all of that. And your heart got to be working. Your eyes got to be working. Your sense got to be working. You ain't no human being controlling none of this stuff. So it's only logical that something bigger and better than you is controlling all of that stuff. So this is why it's logical that there's La ilaha illallah. There's only one God. And there's no partner with that God. Nobody could fill that space. The next thing, and then we'll close up. Matter of fact, we got to close now. They're praying.